Sports Blitz Live is on the air with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown!
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. I'm Randy Lee alongside Scott Hardy, and we'll be here with you until 9 o'clock this morning to take your phone calls, 256-234-6221. A lot going on in the world of sports in the state of Alabama, and we'll cover as much of that as we can over the next 2 hours, starting with high school sports in the spring season. And Scott, getting started with the playoff run for baseball. Tennis is getting started up. I think playoffs for soccer begins next week. We had area championships crowned, some locally this past week when it comes to both of those sports. So we'll try to highlight as much of that as we can. Our local broadcast team, Brett and myself, Wes Coleman was out there as well last night to cover the Benjamin Russell Wildcats as they won the area championship in baseball, taking on Hillcrest Tuscaloosa in the first round of the playoffs. We'll kind of talk a little bit about that, Scott, and that'll be a good place to begin this morning. Lost both of those games last night. It was a tough loss in the first one, 2-1. Gabe Benton, really I didn't think had his best stuff, but, you know, sometimes a pitcher proves more about what they are when they don't necessarily have their best stuff and they're able to get deep into a game and keep a team in it, and I thought that's exactly what Gabe did last night. We'll talk about that shortly, but I guess the storyline was Hillcrest Tuscaloosa and their pitching staff. Jackson Henderson, I'm going to guess 6 foot, 210, 215 pounds, looks like a middle linebacker that you would want on a high school football team. Huge legs. You know, I told Brett, I said, look how many of them, look how they fill out baseball pants. I mean, they are under a squat rack. I don't know how much, but and when you're a pitcher and you've got, you know, I know Kendall Graveman says this a lot. They've got some shirts that we've printed in years past for them about getting paychecks when you got big legs and being under a squat rack, and I can't remember exactly how it goes, but pitching, when you can look up there and you can see someone as physical as that, you know they're about to bring it to you. And Henderson there in that first game, we had 2 hits. I don't know if I call either one of them really a hit. We had an infield hit by Chance Lumpkin that was a pretty well struck ball, and then we had a hit on a misplayed fly ball by their right fielder by Caden Hyde. But outside of that, we didn't put much together against Henderson, and he was exceptional out there on the mound in the first game.
He was, and you know, if you're in playoff baseball, baseball in general, but if you can get your pitcher to go, you know, it's 7 innings in baseball. If you can get them into the 5th in a playoff series, you feel pretty good. But both of their guys go
complete games,
and as you and Brett pointed out, you know, probably could have been, you know, a judgment error there or judgment call on hit or error. It could have very well been a no-hit, or no-hitter for Henderson. But as you said, very consistent across the plate. Wasn't just overpowering, but did enough to force contact, and they did what you're supposed to do, and when the ball's hit to you, they made the right plays, but couldn't get anything going in game 1. But speaking of Gabe, I thought that he competed very well. 2 runs, you think that you got a pretty good opportunity to win a baseball game, and can't really fault him. Just couldn't get the bats going at the opportune times, and conversely, when it mattered, when they needed to get something across, Hillcrest was able to do so. 2-1 in the first game, and I know we'll talk about the second, but that first game was about as competitive as you could get based on the amount of offensive action that the Wildcats had.
This was a 17-14 Hillcrest Tuscaloosa team coming in, playing in a tough region. You saw the talent that they had. I knew when people were asking me throughout the week, did I think their record probably portrayed exactly what we expected to see coming in. I said probably not. Every Hillcrest Tuscaloosa team you and I and Brett have covered over the years in any sport is really well coached. They've got great talent there. You've worked over in that city a lot, so you know more about Tuscaloosa than I do. But Hillcrest is one of those programs that you just have a sense they may not have won as many championships as they are in the future. They've got a really solid program going on in a number of different sports, and we've had the good pleasure of calling them now in basketball. We've seen them in football deep in playoff runs. We've known they've been really good in baseball. We had a great team 6 or 7 years ago that went to the third round of the playoffs and had to go over there and won game one, and they were able to come back and win the next two. So it's a great program, though, over there in Tuscaloosa, isn't it?
Very consistent. All of their teams, have made playoff runs. I think basketball maybe was Sweet 16. They're doing the things that matter. And I do want to say this too. Now, it could have been happening more recently, but I think this is the first time in a while that all three of your top sports, baseball, basketball, and football, all made the playoffs for Benjamin Russell. So I think we're heading in the right direction. I think first needed to get a little taste of that. But the thing is when you're a school like us where it's really cyclical, you have to take advantage of the opportunities when you have them. And so only 2 seniors for the Benjamin Russell team, so a lot of that talent will be coming back. Had freshmen and sophomores contributing to the game yesterday, and obviously what you have in that big junior class. So they'll be back, but disappointing way to end the season, especially with the momentum they had coming into the postseason after winning the area championship. But nothing to hang your hat on. They just ran up against a guy who was a little bit better that night. And game 2, they really exploded with the bats, 5th inning, and it kind of took over from there.
Yeah, I did want to spotlight Gabe, though, and his efforts there in the first game. Losing 2-1, Carter McCoy comes in, throws a perfect 7th inning, and gives us a chance to go back and try to scrape across another run to possibly tie it, and then maybe a couple of runs to win it. But was none to be had there against Henderson there in that first game. But Gabe got behind in counts a lot in the first 4 innings. But it's easy to get behind in counts and just give up the at-bat. And Gabe would get behind 2-0 in counts, and he'd come back with a couple of straight strikes and never made it really easy on the opposition. Caden Hyde, I thought, caught a really good game there in the first one. We had a couple of bounces go our way off the backstop that were able to come right back to him that kept runs off the board. But tip your hat. Not always when you're a pitcher do you go out there and you got your best stuff, but it's your willingness to compete each time they give you the ball. And I thought Gabe gave us every opportunity whatsoever to win that first game. So he's only a junior. He's probably getting ready for spring football now. He's a three-sport star here at Benjamin Russell, and but I was very impressed. I haven't had the opportunity. My kids are knee-deep in sports, so I feel like I turn on a gym or a field light every night of my life. So I haven't had the opportunity to get over there and watch him. But what I saw, everything that you want in a top-notch collegiate pitcher, Gabe's got.
Yeah, he's a number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
And for him not to have his best stuff, and that's what you want to see. Is when a guy maybe isn't where he is, how is he going to pitch around? You really have to pitch at that point when you're not having your best stuff. And, he fought back. His pitch count got a little high towards the end. But all in all, 2 runs have said that should be something that puts you in contention to be able to win a game. And the Cats just couldn't do enough with the bats. But pitching-wise, I think that's always going to be a staple of a Richie Brooks baseball team. We've seen it for years. As long as he's been there, we've put out top-notch guys on the mound, and some have played professionally. A lot have gone on to play college ball. But Gabe's somebody that we'll be seeing for a very long time, I think, in some capacity on a field or a court. Yep.
Second game got out of hand there at the end. Only 4 hits for Hillcrest Tuscaloosa in the second game, up to a certain point where they were able to turn it on a little bit there at the end. But 9-1 loss there for Benjamin Russell. We did have some walks. We had some hit batsmen. We had some errors behind him in the infield that I don't think has been the norm for this team this year. And it happens, once baseball is one of those sports. Once a couple of things start going against you, normally they compound. It's a crazy sport when you talk about it that way. It's one of those where it's a big-time head game. It's a lot like golf. It's a lot like some other sports where there's a lot of downtime. When there's downtime, there's not really anything that you can do to ramp yourself back up other than have a few things go positive in your direction. Just didn't happen last night, and we swung the bats okay in the second game. Carter Bullard did have a double, but getting any extra base hits was a struggle last night. We had 9 hits in the final game to only pick up that 1 run. But, you know, when you're not getting extra base hits, when you're not hitting the ball in the gaps, when you got opportunities, really tough. Ryder Mobley picked up the RBI single after a base hit by Carter Bullard, that double, to get the 1 run that we got on the board. But nonetheless, good season for Benjamin Russell this year. They finished their season off 22-9. They were the Area 4 champions. Richie Brooks did hit a milestone victory this year with 700-plus wins. He's now sitting 5th all-time in wins here in state of Alabama history. I wish we could get a team up there that could get him over the hump. We've all been part of some that have been really close, and he's deserved to have gotten over that hump. And this is one of those groups, though. It was only 2 seniors. Savon Spradley, who ends up a tremendous career overall at Benjamin Russell with a 3-sport star. He was an inside linebacker that played it as well as anybody that we've had there, and was a tough, tough kid. You couldn't get out of the game, Scott. Unfortunately for him, several of those years we didn't have any subs to throw in there, so he literally played every single play at middle linebacker for 2 straight years, which is an amazing stat in its own right. On the wrestling mat, he continued that strong Spradley name there, and was a great high school wrestler here in the state, and then got a hit in his final at bat last night. I was glad to see that, and he came back from a tough injury this past week to give himself an opportunity to play in that game last night. So tremendous career, and one that I'm sure he and his family will be proud of for a long time to come. Carter McCoy had a great night last night, swung the bat well. One of those utility players I think can do a little bit of everything, Scott. Had to go to the mound twice, once in the first game, and then had about 2 1/3 innings there in that final game that he comes in and finishes off. But a great career for him, and one that I know his family's very proud of too. But point being made, only 2 seniors on this team. It is a strong junior class. You know, we're in one of those communities out there where not every class is a big class, and not every class is as talented as other classes. We don't kid ourselves around here, and in many parts of the state, I'm sure you think the same. But this junior class is one, when they were 8 years old, we knew was a solid and really good class to expect a lot from in multiple sports. It's going to be in all 3 of those sports. They don't have big numbers. They do have pretty good numbers in baseball, but there's not big numbers in football of them. But the ones that we've got out there that will be seniors next year are some of the best that we've had come through the program, Scott.
Yeah, I think it'd be very difficult to find a more just pound-for-pound talented class. You maybe look at the 2005 class of Benjamin Russell. They were highly talented.
Did you know that class or something?
Well, they were a year above me, so I'm
Okay.
not going to give – 06, I mean, the numbers are what they are from a scholarship standpoint and where they went to play in the SEC and all that stuff. But I do say that to say this, that I think that this group has endured a lot too, because a lot of them have had to play for multiple years on the varsity level because we were a little weaker in terms of numbers and talent and maybe some of the other classes before. So somebody like a Gabe Benton has played a bunch. Jackson Hayes played a bunch. You even have somebody like Elijah Johnson now who's a freshman who's played. So, I mean, a lot of sophomores contributed. So this is a team from a baseball side that I think is going to be highly competitive for some years to come. But, you know, baseball's weird. You can have the best team. You experienced it during your time playing. You can have the best team. And fortunately, there is the format where you don't have the one-game playoff to move on, so that does give you more opportunities. But this team has a lot of pitching coming back and can just get the bats going. That's always been the thing with Ben Russell in these games. I know Russell County was always our rivalry, and we beat them 2-1 in a game, and they come back and they beat us like 6-2, and then they end up winning the next game too. It's just we couldn't get the bats going. But anyway, heck of a season for the Wildcats. Quiet success. I feel like toward the end, a lot of people started to realize how great of a season they had. But Richie Brooks continues to put out 20-win seasons every year, clearly with the 700 wins that he has. So I'm very excited about the future of the program.
I know we're up against a break, but it brings up a thought that I had yesterday. That I shared out a documentary that we did a couple of years ago on Sammy Dunn. And Vestavia won 9 straight state championships during an era where the first 3 rounds of the playoffs were a one and done. Let that sink in. Now, it's not that they didn't have great teams, but to win a one-game series, you almost can't throw a pitcher out there that has an off night. Because if a pitcher goes out there and he gives up 4 or 5 unearned runs and walks a few players and maybe throws a dribbler around in the infield away at first base or bunts, you don't play bunt defense well, and you give up 4 or 5 runs, it could be the end of your season. That's an amazing stat that Vestavia, it's even more impressive now than it would have been if it were two out of 3 series and you knew the kind of talent that Vestavia. Because in 2 out of 3 series, most of the time the best team's going to end up prevailing. The one with the best pitching and the one that's the deepest will end up winning those series. But a one-game series in baseball, anybody can win those things. And Vestavia won 9 of them in a row where they had to go through the first 3 rounds. Really still an amazing stat. I shared that video out on our Hometown Heroes documentary. It's one that we're proud of and we hope that you check out. Up against our first break here on the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown.
Hey, I'm Jeff Burke, General Manager here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston, where it's Ram Truck Month. Save up to $12,176 off Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn. That's a savings of 20%. Or select 1.9% interest for 72 months and save over $13,500 in interest. So come see us for all these deals and more here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin, comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
High school baseball playoffs started this week. It was actually Thursday night for Minnie Scott. Minnie started last night. It's best of 3 series. Many of those will be closing out today with game 3s. for those teams that split either on Thursday or Friday night. So let's run down some scores, and we'll start in Class 6A. It was Briarwood Christian getting the series win over Baldwin County last night, able to win the first game 13-3 and then come back and win the second game 3-1. So Briarwood will move on. They'll take on the team we lost to last night in Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, who defeated Benjamin Russell 2-1 in the first game and then 9-1 in the second game. Watch out for Stanhope. I grew up during an era where Terrence Long was coming through Stanhope, and when you went over there and you played them in Millbrook, they had athletes. I don't know how to explain it, and they could really swing the bat, and I don't know how many of them are coming through there, because that'd be about the generation that would have some kids starting to come through there. If you're in Millbrook and you know why this Stanhope Elmore team's as good as they are, buddy, they can swing a bat. They're now 23-5 on the season. They take on a program in Chilton County that normally in baseball, Scott, is not one that you want to match up with when it's playoff time, and they obliterated them last night. They beat Chilton County 13-0 in both games, so Stanhope will move on. They'll take on a Hueytown or Faith Academy winner. They had a game 2, resumes on Saturday at noon following a postponement due to rain last night. Let's see, the winner there in the first game was Hueytown, who's 26-9. They won that first game 6-0. They'll take on Faith Academy. Game 2 was tied at 7-7 in the 7th inning. So if Hueytown's able to pick up one more run than Faith Academy there in game 2, then they'll move on to take on Stanhope. Jump in there after those 4 games. Stanhope, just one of those programs you watch out. It's not always probably a little bit like us. They're always a consistent winner. But at times when they can get great talent through, man, they can be tough to beat.
Growing up, like youth league and even in the school ball some, like they were competitive rivals of ours. But growing up, that's who we always matched up with in All-Stars, any travel ball stuff during the summer we did was always with them. And you'd look at them and say, I think we're better than they are. And then you get out there and then they just start hitting bombs on you, and they're very good on the mound. But Stanhope, heck of a season so far. The Briarwood matchup with Hillcrest, I think it's going to be pretty fun matchup. I was looking forward to getting to play them if we had gotten the opportunity. And then, like you said, with Chilton County, that's very surprising. That's
impressive.
No score. So
13 runs.
Yeah.
In playoff baseball, when you know you're hitting against their 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Stanhope's got something going, and so watch out there in Class 6A for Stanhope as they easily move on into the second round. Yeah, you're exactly right. Millbrook is getting, it's a good time for you. I know that you know a lot of these things as well, working on the state level like you have over the last few years, but Millbrook is getting an exceptional athletic complex. I think it's a $100+ million build out on an athletic complex that they have coming to Millbrook, which is great for us because that's in a close proximity to us. We do travel around the state and go and compete with our kids in a lot of different venues, but I don't know that one that nice is as close to us. Am I wrong by that,
No,
Scott?
I mean,
Opelika's, I guess, Opelika's is nice, but it's not, I don't think, to the level of where Millbrook's about to have here shortly.
Yeah, and they've been working on this for a decade or so. I mean, they have been at least I know on the softball side for sure, a travel ball hub.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot of the tournaments were taking place, and so the community understood the need that if they were going to continue to progress and use sports as a vehicle for tourism dollars, that was a way to do so. And so they will have a top-notch facility, and again, their community will boom because of it. But it also plays into the part that though they saw that they had a lot of participation from kids coming up, and so baseball, softball is very important to that area. So I wouldn't expect anything.
I've seen the build out. I've had that because we're doing some projects for them with our sign company. I'm glad to be working with them over there. And but when I first saw it and I heard of it, I said, man, that is a good idea, because they really are in an area here in the middle of the state that people can travel to easily. And so, and Millbrook's also one of those communities, a lot like Ellick City, where you kind of need something. It's not one of those communities that's got a lot of attractions, but they do embrace sports, and they've got great leaders over there that know and have embraced sports since, hey, the same thing. It was the same for us, too. When we used to have to match up, you didn't really want Millbrook.
Nah.
You knew somebody was going to be on the mound throwing a lot better than you wanted them to when you matched up with them. Well, Stanhope Elmore is a solid team, and we'll be watching them. We consider them really close to us, and we'll cheer for them moving forward. Northridge takes down Pike Road in the first round. Pike Road ends their season at 25-7. Northridge wins the first game 5-4. Come back, win the second game 11-6. They'll take on the winner of McAdory and Spanish Fort. The first game went to McAdory 3-2. Second game, Spanish Fort 2-1. Sets up a game 3 today to decide that series. That one's at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Helena defeats Wetumpka yesterday in 2 consecutive games. They win 2-0 in the first game, then 9-5 in the second. That's a program that I'll jump over to you, Scott, here shortly and talk about, because they've already won a couple of state championships in baseball and only been around maybe a decade, but they're in a part of the state where baseball is king. You look at their record. They're 14-18 on the season. They play in an area where it's kind of like SEC baseball. You go 500 during the season, you get into playoffs, you have a chance still, as long as you can just find your way there, and Helena is kind of proof of that right now. Saraland, I got some good friends of mine that's got kids there at Saraland, and they continue their strong stretch as they take down Brookwood 3-1 in the first game, 2-1 in the second. So it'll be Helena matched up with Saraland in the second round of the playoffs. So good matchups there, but back to Helena, that's a program that's really grown in baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, this just, as you said, didn't just start, last year. So they have been moving in this direction, been very competitive, been in opportunities to win. And again, they're one of those programs, quietly, you just looked up and within a 4 or 5 year period, they were competing in everything. And the size of their enrollment continues to increase. There'll probably be a 7A school before it's over with during the next reclassification. But Helena's just got some good ball players.
Hey, they got facilities that attract families too. I remember the first few times you and I and Brett went up there and saw the facility up on the top of that mountain, what you oversee, and all of the schools and the middle school that's there and the baseball complex. And so I thought, whoa, man, they did not B-team this. And it's proof positive when you're competing in an area like that where it's an easy move to go send your kids to Thompson, find a way to get to Pelham, go right up the road to go to Hoover. If you don't have great facilities, buddy, it's a hard sell, isn't it? And Helena did it right, and they have been able to take advantage of that and be really competitive in just about each sport. So congratulations to them as they move on to the second round. Let's go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll have the bottom half of this 6A bracket. We'll run that down, also run down 5A, and take any of your questions, phone calls. We got all the scores from high school baseball right here in front of us that we can run down from this week and heading into today. We've got many games going on today to decide series, and we'll talk about that moving forward here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Hey, I'm Jeff Burt, General Manager here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston, where it's Ram Truck Month. Save up to $12,176 off Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn. That's a savings of 20%. Or select 1.9% interest for 72 months and save over $13,500 in interest. So come see us for all these deals and more here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto, central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Looking for an attorney you can trust for your real estate closings? Wisdom Law Firm at Lake Martin has you covered. Your real estate transactions are fast, convenient, and professional every step of the way. Wisdom Law is certified and licensed by the American Land and Title Association and approved by all local lenders. Visit Wisdom Law Firm at 6366 Highway 49 in Dadeville or at their Auburn location at 2353 Bent Creek Road. No communication concerning a lawyer's legal services shall be published or broadcast unless it contains the following language, which shall be clearly legible or audible as the case may be. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. You see the phone number at the bottom of the screen, 256-234-6221. If you're out and about watching high school sports in the spring, this first hour of our program each Saturday is revolving around high school sports, and we're proud of our affiliation with the Alabama High School Athletic Association with our radio network, and we try to cover it as well as anyone out there. So if you've been to games, if you've got kids that we need to spotlight, that's what the phone lines are for, and that's what our Facebook and social media accounts are for as well. So pass them along to us. We've gotten through the top half of the bracket in 6A. Let's move down to the bottom half. It was Athens taking on Parker and winning their series 2-0. Coleman. This is a 16-20 Coleman team. Want to talk about something you won't see every year. It's a 16-20 Coleman team, but this is how good that program has become over the years. They win the first round over Mortimer Jordan, win the series 2-1, had to come back and win a game 3 as they started on Thursday night and win game 3 3-1. So Coleman will move on and take on Athens there in the second round. It was Gardendale, who we'll actually see in the spring football game coming up. Gardendale defeats Pell City 2-1, winning the third and deciding game 5-4. Wow, what a series right there. So Gardendale will move on and take one of the premier the year in and year out programs here in the state that we talk about in baseball is Hazel Green. Hazel Green defeats Homewood 2-0. Win the first game 10-3, come back, win the second game 6-0. So it will be Gardendale taking on Hazel Green and Athens taking on Coleman. Get to the northern half of the state. Down here we don't cover them as much, but I have learned over the last 15 years there's outstanding baseball up there, Scott.
Yeah, Hazel Green, yep, they're the equivalent of what we would think of with Phoenix City, Russell County. Like they're always there. Same for Coleman too. I mean, that 14-18 record isn't indicative of what you would typically see from there, but they get the series sweep, so I think that they're accustomed to this time of year for baseball. But two great matchups there that you'll get to see in the northern part of the state. Two
top 5 teams in Class 6A in the bottom half of this bracket, and they'll match up, it looks like, in a couple of weeks if all things stay the way that we're pointing to. But one of them's Hartselle, and Hartselle's 26-7 on the season. They easily went over Pinson Valley in the first round, winning 15-1 and 10-0. This is a Hartselle program, Scott, that had an outstanding football season. You know, they had a really good basketball team this year, and then baseball, it's every year. Hartselle has been ranked number 1 for a majority of the season in Class 6A, and we'll see if they can hold on with that. Minor, amazing team here. They're 31-4. You don't get records like that without having a great team, but Minor won 14-3 over May Jemison, and then 17-0 in the second game. That's a program. In minor, watch out now.
I don't even think I've ever associated baseball with minor. So that's not that they haven't been good, but I don't think I've ever really talked about them as a baseball
You know,
team.
you and I like to have these back and forths. We'll have these little black and white spats back and forth, a little funny. And that does feel like, though, if you get the right coach in a community that embraces baseball, and minors probably, when you're 31-4, you play in some good teams throughout the stretch. You're really, really good, and so watch out, minor. That's good, and that's a good storyline too. Which you see it more. You're starting to see it a little more on the basketball court, which has been a surprise to many of us out there. When you see a Coleman win a state championship in basketball, you're like, oh, no, hold up now. Let's repeat ourselves here. Is that really what happened? And it was. So minor looks to be one of those programs. You know, Robert E. Lee, during the stretch where they had Henry Ruggs coming through and some great talent on the baseball diamond, they were really, really good there for a stretch as well. Oxford was the one that I was talking about second, though. Oxford's a solid program and very well coached. They're 31-6. They win 10-0 and 20-0 over Center Point yesterday, and they'll move on and they'll match up with Mountain Brook here in the next round. This is a 22-10 Mountain Brook team. Kind of avenging their loss to Buckhorn in the state championship game in basketball, winning in baseball. They won 3-0 and 5-4 yesterday. So Oxford and Mountain Brook, but two programs, and I'm not saying that these two programs even win next week, but two of the top 5 programs in 6A all year have been Hartselle and Oxford. That'd be a great matchup in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and both of those teams for 20 years have been baseball juggernauts, and Oxford, we always would get matched up with them. And I think Hartselle actually put us out in the playoffs maybe my freshman year, sophomore year. But, you know, I would like to see that matchup. And you get it. I mean, when you start getting this deep, for the most part, the best teams in a 2 out of 3 series are going to win. So it's not wrong to kind of prognosticate to say, hey, this is probably the matchup you get, or that's the one people are looking forward to seeing.
It would be a great one. It would be a quarterfinal matchup that may have the best two teams in it. And sometimes it just works out that way. And when it does, you'll have a massive crowd, and both of those communities and those cities are baseball fanatics. So it would be a really good matchup, and we'd look forward to that. Go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll move into Class 5A, give you the playoffs and how they're working out in Class 5A. If you've got questions on any of the other classifications here in the state of Alabama, give us a call, 256-234-6221.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Hey, honey, it's Mom. Just wanted to call and check in, see how everything's going. You'll probably say not to worry. Everything is great. But we miss you. I'll call you back later. How are you? Tell me everything.
Everything's great. I love it here.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We are in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Hey guys, this is Nate Paz with Airport Motors.
I'm Connor Branch with Fairway Auto Brokers in Opelika, Alabama.
And this is your first ever Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz.
That's right, Lake Martin. Airport Motors and Fairway Auto Brokers is teaming up for the very first Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz. Make sure to check out either website for the very best selection of pre-owned luxury trucks, SUVs, and sedans in East Alabama. Get pre-approved in minutes online and make sure to use the keyword Summer Blitz in the comments section for $500 off internet price. That's keyword Summer Blitz.
WF Cabinetry in Alex City has immediate openings for first and second shift production roles in addition to immediate openings for Class A CDL drivers with the ability to be at home weekly. We are ready for you to join our family and grow with us. Prior cabinet experience is always welcome. Second shift offers a flexible 10-hour, 4-day work schedule, giving you a great work-life balance right here at home. WF Cabinetry offers excellent health insurance and 401k benefits as well as an employee purchase discount with daily production bonus opportunities. You can apply in person at 2212 Airport Boulevard in Alexander City or call 256-234-7900.
We got through Class 6A. Let's run down Class 5A. And if you've got questions on any other classifications in high school baseball as we're moving into the playoff rounds, please give us a call. Let us know what those are, and we'll give you a score out there. Mobile Christian will take on Hopeville in a deciding Game 3. That one will pitch or start at 1 p.m. this afternoon. After splitting the first two, it was Elmore County. Adding on to another great season that they're having in multiple sports. Elmore County defeats Beauregard yesterday, so they'll take on the winner of Mobile Christian and Hopeville. On the bottom half of that one, it's Greenville and Headland. They'll play a Game 3 today. It's at 1 o'clock, and then Sylacauga moves on. They now got a great record, 18-6 on the season as they defeat Alberta, and they'll take on the winner of that Greenville and Headland series. Tallahassee moves to Game 3 today after splitting with Valley. They won the first game, Valley wins the first game 1-0, and then Tallahassee comes back, wins Game 2 5-3. They'll have a deciding Game 3 today at noon. St. Paul's and Marbury. St. Paul's moves on, wins that series 2-0. Demopolis able to move on, win the series over Charles Henderson, and they'll take on Shelby County in the bottom. So you got Tallahassee and Sylacauga here in the local region along with Elmore County. Many teams that are really close to us really playing well, Scott.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like it always has been, but with the emergence of travel ball and more specialization in sports, baseball has really elevated it in the state, but in our region, I mean, it's always been good, but I feel like there's a bigger focus than what it has been previously, and you're seeing it in the amount of teams that are making playoff runs.
Yeah, I think we're getting more teams there, but two of those that I bring up there, Tallahassee and Sylacauga, those communities embraced, and we were right behind them, but those two communities embraced travel baseball, Babe Ruth baseball, those baseball leagues that led American Legion, that led you into your 18-year-old year. Tallahassee and Sylacauga locally for us embraced it more than anybody else. And that's the reason they won so many dang state championships. I mean, Tallahassee won how many under Coach Baines? 6 or 7 in a 15-year period, and Sylacauga won 3 or 4. Sylacauga, good for them. They were in a classification there in Class 5A that was perfect for them, and they were able to get through. But, man, they were premier programs, and we had to compete against a lot of them. And they had some of the best talent we've ever seen really here in this state come out of both of those two programs. Moving to the bottom half of that bracket, it's Arab defeating Moody, and they'll take on Alexandria in round 2 as they defeat Jasper. Boaz and Springville will move to Game 3 today, first pitch at 1 p.m., and they'll be able to move on and take on Madison Academy, who took down Pleasant Grove. Moving to the bottom half of Class 5A, it was Russellville defeating Southside Gadsden. That's a every-year team, Russellville, right there in the mix there in Class 5A. Scottsboro will be their opponent, and actually they're going to have a Game 3 as Leeds and Scottsboro split there in the first 2 games of the series, and that one will have first pitch today at 1 p.m. Sardis taking on Hayden. I think there will be a Game 2 after a delay, and Game 2 still was underway with John Carroll and Ardmore. We don't have a score from the state on that one, but Scott, we're getting into some programs around the state that you see every single year, and Russellville's been one of those.
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, they were one of the best programs across the board. They went through a little stretch with some population differentiation, I'll say, but they're back. But with baseball, they've consistently been there. And I'm listening to some of these scores, and obviously, game one, you're going to throw your top guy. But if you're the coach and you don't really have a 2 or 3, like there's not much there, do you save your better one for game 3, or do you say, all right, we're going to go ahead and try to win it now? What are your thoughts?
Everyone has a differing opinion. And I think the really good programs already have their pitchers prepared that they plan to go with on Friday night, and they don't change the mentality of that. They're going to go out there and throw their best. One will know that he's throwing the first game, and the second will know he's throwing the second. Now, there are some that say, if I win this first game, I'm going to hold off knowing they're going to throw their 2 in the second game, and I'm going to keep my guy who is my 2 into the third game. So there's games that are always played up and down. The way to cure that is to be deep and not just be depending on one pitcher. And it's the reason that I'm such a big fan of best 2 out of 3 series, because you're going to have to get 4 or 5 pitchers deep if you go 3 games into a series. And if you get 4 to 5 pitchers deep and that 5th pitcher's weak, you're more than likely not going to get through the series, and it's going to expose you. So you one game, man, you throw your ace out there, and as long as your ace is better than the opposition's ace, then things are going to work out pretty well for you. Vestavia during the stretch that I was talking about, Sammy Dunn, 3 out of those 9 years they won state championships, they had the best pitcher in the state, and they may have had more other, but I just know that he was our age, Josh Hancock. He had a tough, passed away since St. Louis Cardinals pitcher, was an outstanding Major League Baseball pitcher, but Hancock, man, whenever he went out there, they won. It was just no doubt, and he started as a sophomore all the way through his senior year. So back during those stretches, if you had the guy, more than likely it was going to work out for you. And so, fortunately, we've got a best 2 out of 3 series. So many of those moving into a game 3 today. So there will be a big fan contingency throughout the state, I suspect. Scott, just final thoughts. High school baseball, first round, getting started up. It's a fun time of year. We got softball. We got a lot of individual sports that are coming to a close, as well as you've got soccer as a team sport, but you got individual sports like golf and tennis and others. Spring's one of the more fun times of the year for all of us to cover out there.
Yeah, with football kind of overshadows everything else during that time of the year. Basketball kind of does, but in the spring, you've got so much going on and so many kids competing, and it's really a fun time for the AHSAA. So glad you guys were able to call the games last night. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way we wanted from a Wildcat perspective, but thought it sounded really great, and I know that that's something that looking forward to doing more of is covering more of the sports. But as long as our kids continue to compete and put themselves in outcomes to compete for championships, we're going to be there to cover it.
256-234-6221 is our phone number. If you were out watching games or you've got teams that we should highlight, please let us know. If you got questions on scores in 1A through 4A, call in for that. Class 7A won't get started up until this next week, as they don't have quite as many teams to get through the playoff run, and they want to culminate at the same time with the others. So we'll cover those. I have no clue which team you can point to is the best there. I think there's 6 or 8 teams in Class 7A that can win a state championship, and that's fun when you don't have one team that separated themselves from the field, and we'll cover that as well. Go ahead and take another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Here comes Sun's Automotive, the name synonymous with trust and big savings. And right now, save big with a new 2023 Kia Forte for as low as $399 per month. That's right, $399 per month. Sun's Automotive, family-owned, family-driven. Here comes Sun's Automotive, the name synonymous with trust and big savings. And right now, get a new 2023 Kia K5 for as low as $399 per month. That's right, $399 per month. Rain or shine, you can buy online anytime at Sun's Automotive. Family-owned, family-driven.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau tri-tunes, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City, Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry? The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider. Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best in comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sales. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
During the break, Scott, you and I were talking about a national story. It can be state of Alabama story, of course, but a feel-good story, and we talked about it a little bit on Auburn Blitz this week, so I wanted to get your opinion on it. But Jalen Hurts signing the largest contract in NFL history, 5 years, $255 million, a $24 million signing bonus, and $180 million guaranteed. There are some of these contracts that are given out there where I go, I don't know. Just don't. Does he deserve that kind of money? Will he earn that kind of money? Will he work hard enough and handle himself right under that kind of money? And Jalen Hurts is not one that I feel that way about, though. It's a feel-good story, man. I'm an Auburn fan sitting up here, and I'm also a Jalen Hurts fan because anytime a mic was put in front of that man's face, he handled himself about as professionally as you possibly could. And you play the PR game. You've been a part of the PR game for a long time. That's hard. That's almost impossible to get a leader that handles himself as well as he does. And for him to win like this after what happened with him at Alabama, and it wasn't negative. He had a national championship game where he couldn't get it going, and Tua is inserted, and he puts on a show. And Tua comes back out, and the remainder of his career there at Alabama, he puts up massive numbers. And Jalen moves on to Oklahoma, and he plays better at Oklahoma than I ever figured that he would. I thought he was a wishbone quarterback, just in a different generation was my thought. I really felt like he was maybe a slightly better version of Eric Crouch or Scott Frost or somebody, or Tommy Frazier, or someone that Nebraska had. I thought he was that type of player. I was dead wrong. He could have won the MVP of the Super Bowl. He's just gotten better every single year that he's played wherever he's been, and I'm proud for him. I'm glad that he is the one to get this kind of contract.
Yeah, my friend, our friend Kyle Graveman, he's in the group message, he's the person who likes to hold screenshots. He doesn't forget things that you say. And another friend of ours has been very critical of Jalen Hurts for his time in Alabama, and when he got to the pros, said, he's not good. It's just not going to work. And when the contract happened this week, he pulled out about 6 different text messages from over the last 3 or 4 years where he was coming to his defense, and it validated it. But saying all that, I am overjoyed for somebody like him, because a lot of times the people that get these contracts, they're good. Like Patrick Mahomes, he's just a good football player. Really wasn't much else with that storyline. But Jalen's story, I think, resonates with everybody, like his perseverance and his ability to keep going even when things didn't appear to be their best. And you're talking about the way he's able to handle himself in front of the camera. Look at some people and say, man, he's always on. And then after it happens for so long, it's like, that's just who he is.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the type of person he is. And I think that he's going to be one of the faces of the NFL for a very long time. And congratulations to him and the Eagles.
I think he's going to be the face of whatever he decides to do ever.
And all-female PR team. I know the thing we've been talking, but that's been a big thing of his too. That his team around him. One of the girls actually went to Auburn, graduated from Auburn, and worked at Mississippi State for a little bit. But she, along with 4 others, I think, are his complete team, and they have gotten it done for him. And I think they're a part of that image building as well. But overall, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just I thought that was very interesting. He's done a great job of promoting that.
Well, it's nice to be able to promote someone that you're not constantly having to watch what they say. It's like, yeah, would you give me that gig? Can I be Jalen Hurts PR? And I'm not taking anything away from what they've done. I'm just saying that there's some people that you put a mic in front of them, they say the right things. And then after a while, you realize, like you just said better than I have, that's just who they are. It's how they were raised. They were raised by people that made sure that they handled themselves in every situation the right way. And he happened to be from a father that was a super high school football coach in the state of Texas that was well thought of, and he's produced one of the best leaders and one of the best athletes of this generation, and now the highest paid NFL player of all time, and deservedly so. If they win that Super Bowl game, he's the MVP. And he does everything well. He throws it well. He runs it well. He's just an amazing player, and I'm real proud that happens to be one that good things. Sometimes you just want to see good people have good things go their way, and Jalen Hurts is one of those, even sitting here as an Auburn fan. I would say that. Not a good storyline, but it would not be smart for you and I sitting up here on a Saturday to not hit on it. But solid storyline for what happened this week following this story. It was a terrible situation that happened in Dadeville this past Saturday. And our thoughts and prayers still continue to go out to all of those families that are not only the ones that have lost loved ones, but those that are continuing to fight and trying to persevere through the hospitals as we're continuing to try to keep up with those. And not only those kids, but also the other ones that happen to be at the party and see all of this. But throughout the last week, there's some confidence level you have to give to the law enforcement here in this community. You being a city councilman, I know that the city of Elliott City has stepped up and has, I'm sure, provided as many resources and as much help as they possibly can be over there to our friends and our neighbors in the city of Dadeville. But 6 now arrested, and that's a positive thing, that you can get those individuals off the streets as quick as you can to just give peace and clarity to the families that are dealing with it and those that were involved.
Yeah, and I owe them an apology too. From an internal standpoint, the way that initially the speed of information that was coming out and the lack of details, there wasn't a lack. They had it. We just didn't have it. I thought that it could have been handled a little bit differently, but as the days progressed and got an opportunity to hear from DA Segrist, I could see, all right, they have a plan. And to see it executed the way that it was was outstanding, and it brings some closure to some of the family members, or at least starts that process of healing a little bit more, knowing that they've captured the people that were responsible for it or appear to be responsible for it. But just a troubling week overall, but you hate for something like this to be something that unifies people, but I do feel like there's been a new sense of community in the surrounding area, not just here, but state and nationally. There's been a lot of outpouring of support, but also have to think about the kids that were there that weren't injured but still have to deal with that as well, because then the story could be completely different for some other families, people that we know, some high profile people in the high school ranks locally were there, and it could have easily been one of them. And so just heart and our thoughts and prayers go out to all that are impacted, but great job by public safety and law enforcement specifically in getting this done.
Well, and I know that you in the role that you sit in, there's many roles that you sit in, but it's nice to see leadership in a community that close to us handled as well as this one's been handled in a terrible situation. But you learn a lot about the people that you put in charge of things whenever really bad things happen, you know. I point back to the city of Tuscaloosa following that tornado. And many people, including myself, going, Walt Maddox handled that well. I thought that he took a very, very negative situation. He found a way to corral people and make sure that they're pulling in the same direction. And, hey, tip our hat. It's easy to sit up here and second-guess every decision that every leader makes, but I think it's also something that we should do, Scott. When people do it right and things turn out right, we should also be willing to sit up here and say, hey, applaud those people. Those people had a job to do, and they did it well, and we should all be proud of it. And next time something negative, God help us all, we hope nothing like this ever happens again. Next time you do have confidence that it will be taken care of in the manner that you would like for it to. So I applaud our law enforcement and all of our leaders out there that have had a mic thrown in front of them. I think they've handled themselves extremely well over this last week in a tough situation. We'll go ahead and take another break. When we come back, second hour of the program.
No monthly payments for 90 days at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful new Chevrolet Silverado RST. Crew cabs discounted up to $7,250 off. The mid-size Chevrolet Traverse up to $5,250 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com.
We have over 200 new and used vehicles on the ground or on the way. Get ready to smile.
The Alabama Slammer. It's a popular drink at parties, but drink too many and you'll wind up in this Alabama Slammer. And if you drink and drive, get ready for a real Alabama Slammer. If you're involved in a crash where a driver's been drinking, you're 4 times more likely to die.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed
Hi, this is Jimmy Goree, Goree's Furniture. Come join us for the madness of March. Come join us here at Goree's Furniture. Make a purchase, shoot from the line, 5, 10 to 15. That's a % discount off your total ticket. So come join us. Let's have fun. Everyone's a winner. Everyone will save. Come join us for the madness of March, and that's only at Goree's Furniture.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Phone lines are open, 256-234-6221. Love to hear from you out there. Ellick City Marine is our segment sponsor here, and they've got an in-water boat show coming up, so we'll pass along more information on them and many of our other sponsors as we head into spring season. Scott, things change around the Lake Martin area, don't they? And for good changes whenever you're sitting there in city government, am I wrong?
Yeah, no, this is April to about September is prime time for this area. It's become a 12-month thing, but for the most part, April to September, we're looking forward to seeing all of our guests.
But again, we'd love to hear from you out there, 256-234-6221. If you're out watching high school baseball, high school softball, any of the individual sports around the state, in the first hour we tried to spotlight those high school sports. Moving into the second hour of the program, though, moving into more of the collegiate side. It's been a tough road to hoe in SEC baseball for both Alabama and Auburn, both with losing records in SEC baseball. But, Scott, when you look at the top 20, I think 6 of the top 7 teams in the last poll were SEC teams. If you don't have an exceptional team, you're going to get run over like a freight train right now in SEC baseball, aren't you?
Yeah, and you never want to be competing for something and say we just want to get 500, but you brought it up earlier. You know, if you're 500, a couple games below in SEC play, really had a pretty successful season. If you look at now, that doesn't mean you're be able to go to a World Series or anything, but the caliber of teams, I mean, the best programs in the country are in the SEC. And then when you have had teams like a South Carolina who's always been there and then kind of faded away and coming back, they're back too. So SEC baseball is at the top of the heap.
Top 25 in college baseball. As I just mentioned, actually 5 out of the top 6 programs in the country are from the SEC. LSU's number 1, 29-6. It's Florida coming in at number 3. Wake Forest is the second-ranked team in the country, but Florida's number 3 coming into this weekend. Vandy's number 4. Arkansas number 5. South Carolina number 6. And then you look down at Kentucky sitting there at number 13. So 6 of the top 13 programs in the country are in the SEC. Unfortunately, Auburn and Alabama aren't 2 of those. Coming into these weekend series, Auburn had a 5-10 mark in SEC play, 20-15-1 overall. Auburn needing to reel off some wins in SEC play just to give themselves a chance to move in to the tournament possibly and give themselves a chance to compete. You watched Ole Miss last year win a national championship after a terrible start. And Mississippi State has done a little bit of the same, Scott. Mississippi State has a few weekends in a row where they won series after starting off terribly. They're now 5-10 overall in SEC play in 22-15. So that's a big series for Auburn this weekend.
Definitely. Getting the 2-1 victory last night was a good way to start, but we've been talking about this for a little while. I think is it Ole Miss next week? Is that?
I think so, yes.
So you had an opportunity with these 2 schools, even though Mississippi State's starting to play better, you wanted to at least get 2 out of 3 from each one of these, but if you could get a sweep out of one of them, that'd be great. But Auburn, if they're able to get 2 out of 3, that means, they're 6-11, and then maybe you get 2 out of 3 next week, and then you're 8 out of 12, and then you see yourself in a better position moving forward. But really would be opportune if Auburn could get a season or a series sweep this weekend.
SEC baseball standings coming into this weekend, it was Vandy 13-2 in the conference, 29-7 overall. Florida 11-4, South Carolina 10-4, Kentucky 10-5, and then LSU at 9-5 over on the western side. Arkansas is at the top of the heap there on the western side, 11-4, and every other team on the western side is in negative territory, all with a losing record there in conference play. And that tells you only 4 teams on the eastern side, 2 teams, 6 of those teams with winning records. If you're sitting around 500, you've got a chance. You've just got to have a good close to the season, and that's what Auburn's hoping for.
Yeah, and something that has stymied them, and I heard you guys talk about it a little bit last night about on the college level, the amount of free passes and errors that have taken place. And if Auburn, is able to do what they're capable of doing on the mound, the way they're hitting the ball, they should be able to get some of these wins down the stretch. But as you said, just need to get a string of wins together to kind of decrease that differential in SEC play.
Running down scores from last night in SEC baseball, Texas A&M and Kentucky, they were postponed due to rain. It was Tennessee defeating Vanderbilt last night. That's a 16th ranked Tennessee team taking on the 4th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores. They win 4-3 there in that ball game. It was Georgia with a shocker over Arkansas. This is a 5th ranked Arkansas team losing to Georgia 7-3. So Georgia now 6-11 in conference play. It was South Carolina continuing their strong play with a 5-2 victory over the number 3 ranked Florida team. That is now 12-4 mark in SEC play for South Carolina. Florida drops to 11-6. It was Auburn with a late run in the 9th inning and able to move on. Or excuse me, it had been the bottom of the 8th where Auburn picks up that second run. But Auburn defeats Mississippi State 2-1 last night. Really good pitching performance. 4 hits only given up by both teams, but a 2-1 victory takes Auburn's record now to 6-10. Mississippi State drops to 5-11. It was Alabama over Missouri last night, 6-4. Alabama now 7-9 in SEC play. Missouri drops to 5-11. LSU, the number 1 ranked team, defeats Ole Miss last night, 7-3. Now moving to 10-5 in SEC play is LSU. Ole Miss dropping to 3-13. Following a national championship run, actually the last 2 years coming out of the state of Mississippi, with Mississippi State and Ole Miss, to see the records of those 2 programs right now is really a shock, but it tells you how strong this conference is.
Yeah, maybe more so on the Mississippi State side, I think just because of what the expectations are from their fan base. But overall, I don't think it's an indictment on them. It's just how good the SEC is in general. And so you may have a good team, but they're not as good as some of those names that you rattled off that are in the top 5, 6 in the country.
Great win, though, again for Auburn last night, 2-1 over Mississippi State. It was a much-needed win that Auburn's able to pick up and really need to continue that. Looking through the box score, it was a late run in the bottom of the 8th for Auburn to seal that victory 2-1. Mississippi State did not get a run across until the 7th inning. Looking at the batting last night for Auburn, 2 hits for Stanfield. You had 1 hit for Pierce. Continuing down, McMurray had a hit, and that closed things out. So Stanfield now batting .329 on the season, hitting in that leadoff spot was the lone bright spot when you're talking about hitting there from pitching. Vail had 5 innings pitched and did a tremendous job. It was Armstrong, Bowman, and Cannon coming in. So it took 4 pitchers for Auburn to clean that thing up and to win that game 2-1 last night. However you can get it, take it, though, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, Auburn not must-win games, but there's true sense of urgency now at this portion of the season where they needed to get some wins together. So however they need to do it from a pitching standpoint, they'll get it done.
We'll go ahead and take another break. When we come back, hope to catch up. We got Luke Robinson coming up shortly, and Brett Pritchard was going to call in and talk a little bit about the game that he and I broadcasted last night, the 2 games that we broadcasted as Hillcrest Tuscaloosa defeats our Benjamin Russell Wildcats here in the local region, 2-1 in the first game and then 9-1 in the second game to move on in the playoffs. And we'll talk about that. We did talk a lot about the playoff run in 6A and 5A, and if you've got any questions on other scores here in the state, please let us know. 256-234-6221. More of the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Continental Roofing is your local roofer. If you think you have roof damage, call Continental Roofing for a free inspection and let us provide all the paperwork necessary to open your insurance claim. We work very well with all insurance companies, but we work for you. your interests come first. You have assurance that Continental will install a quality roof at a fair price. In the unlikely case that you have a warranty issue, you can have the peace of mind knowing that Continental Roofing is your local roofer.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
No monthly payments for 90 days at Glenn Smith Buick GMC in Opelika. New GMC Sierra Crew Cabs discounted up to $10,000 off. New GMC Terrains up to $5,250 off. And new Buick Encore GX up to $4,750 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com.
We have over 200 new and used vehicles on the ground or on the way. Get ready to smile.
Couple of pieces of news coming out for Auburn basketball yesterday that we can highlight, Scott. And again, 256-234-6221 is our phone number, so give us a phone call out there. But LeBaron Philon yesterday morning decommits. Number one prospect in the junior class here in the state of Alabama was Mr. Basketball this year. Tough to see him decommit. We've had a couple of decommitments over the last couple of weeks, Baby Shaq and now Philon decommitting, and I hated to see him go. It feels like it probably was a Flanagan deal. Flanagan may have been his lead recruiter, and he moving on to Ole Miss could have had reason for Philon to, at least at this point in time, decide to decommit from Auburn. Doesn't mean he doesn't end up at Auburn. I'm hoping we stay after him, but right now he's no longer a commitment.
Yeah, and it was such a big get because his list of offers, I mean, anybody you could think of was offering him, so it was a big deal. But still, I think a lot of opportunity for Auburn to make some noise there. But I think with Coach Flanagan leaving, that probably was the contributing factor that led to his deal.
You know, we looked through this past week, and it is a wild stat. But how many Mr. Basketballs from the state of Alabama do you think Auburn has signed ever?
Probably none. Because the only person, Frankie didn't get it, I don't guess. And,
nope.
Yeah, I don't think any.
Zero.
Yeah.
Is that not wild?
Well,
I mean, this award's been given away since like 75. So it's a very long time. I mean, it's older than me. And I'm not looking young up there on that screen anymore. But for 47 years, this award's been given away. And it's missed a couple of years randomly. in that stretch, but only a couple of those years. So I think the award's been given away like 45 times now. Alabama's had like 25 Mr. Basketball signed with the University of Alabama. UAB's had several. Several have gone out of state, of course, but shocking, though, to think that during that stretch Auburn wouldn't at least have a couple signed. And LeBaron Philon, who was Mr. Basketball as a junior this year, has every opportunity, the way he scores the basketball, to follow that up with a Mr. Basketball again next year. I think he averaged 35 points per game for Baker this past year, but that's a wild number, Scott.
Yeah, I know we have a call, but I'll say this. I mean, outside, at least in my lifetime, outside of the Chris Porter run there, Auburn really hasn't been that good. So I'm not that surprised by it, but
let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you're on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Hey, guys, it's Luke.
Luke, glad to have you, buddy. We were talking, actually, and I'll let you jump in right here. We were talking about LeBaron Philon decommitting from Auburn, and I'm going to spin this over to an Alabama conversation with you. But I didn't realize until we were looking through this week that Mr. Basketball has been given away since 1975, and Auburn has never had a Mr. Basketball from the state of Alabama commit. Now, Alabama's had like 25 during that stretch commit. You being a basketball fan, are you semi-surprised with that?
I'm surprised that they've never had one for sure. I'm not surprised that a lot have gone to Alabama. I mean, again, look, this always seems to ruffle feathers, but, I mean, Auburn basketball hadn't been relevant but about 10 years out of their entire existence. I mean, maybe I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, maybe 15 years, but I'm not far off. I mean, Auburn was the worst program in the SEC for a long time. And Cliff Ellis had a little bit of success. Sonny Smith had a little bit of success. I mean, but these were just drops in the bucket compared to most every other program. And then now Bruce Pearl has come around and made them a perennial NCAA tournament team, and that's great. But I think when you see something, a stat like that, Randy, this ought to tell you about that stat. We didn't ever worry about that stat until recently because it was never an issue. So that ought to tell you everything you need to know about that particular statistic, in my opinion. Right. And, you know, it is a little odd that they didn't just one day stumble upon one because, I mean, look, all the Mr. Alabamas, just like all 5 stars, aren't created equal. You know, again, I'm not trying to laugh at anybody. I think Sam Hagginess might have been Mr. Alabama in the state of Alabama. Very good basketball player in high school, but it didn't work out in college, obviously. I mean, good guy, good, nice player, but he's not the same as, say, I don't know if it was Eric Bledsoe or DeMarcus Cousins, but one of them won it. And Sam Hagginess is not the same as either one of those guys, and they both won Mr. Basketball.
Good points, Luke. Just a stat that we saw this week that kind of jumped out. Let's stick with basketball, though, and quickly get your response on what you think's going on, how much you enjoying this transfer portal, NIL play that you're having to do with basketball, because you being an Alabama fan, it will be a completely new roster next year.
I mean, not just a new roster. I mean, I don't know if you want to include the coaches on the roster, but Alabama's going to need 3 new coaches too. And, I mean, if you want to spin it positive, I think you can, that, you know, people are coming after your coaches, and that's great. I mean, that's big boy basketball. But the bad news is when you look at something like a Philon decommitting, well, one of the reasons he's decommitted is because his number 1 recruiter was Wes Flanagan. Well, you would think, okay, maybe Alabama's next on the list. But the problem is his number 1 recruiter for Alabama was Antoine Petway, who just took the job at Kennesaw State. So I'm not sure Alabama is next on the list. And so I would hate to see Mr. Alabama of this caliber get out of the state, but that very well might happen. I am excited about the direction of the program still. I feel like Nate Oates has things going in a very positive direction, but we could take a step back next year for sure. I mean, it's not very often any team, much less Alabama, wins the SEC regular season and the SEC tournament and has Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year and goes to the Sweet 16. I mean, and got a number 1 seed overall in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, I think this team's going to take a step back, and I hope that fans are patient with it because it's going to come with the territory. you never know who's getting in the transfer portal anymore. It is literally the Wild West. That cliche is probably overblown and overused, but my God, I've never seen anything like this. Guys are going in the transfer portal like this morning. I mean, it's crazy. And there's no telling who Alabama's going to have. That I know Lee Witzel from out in California is on a visit. People think Alabama will get him. Aaron Estrada from Hofstra, one of the top scorers in the country, is probably going to end up at Alabama. Alabama's still going hard after B.J. Mack, but he may wind up in South Carolina. He's originally from Wofford, and he got in the transfer portal. Of course, Wofford in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And this whole roster is just going to be completely different. Look, a kid from Michigan, Papa Conte, I believe is how you say his name, he just asked out of his national letter of intent that he signed, and a half ago or whatever, and Alabama's recruiting him. But, I mean, is there even a chance? I don't know. Things change so quickly now that it's hard to say who's going to be where. I mean, you used to be able to put in a crystal ball with some kind of confidence about somebody. I mean, you're literally trying to read tea leaves at this point.
Luke, give us an update on spring football, thoughts around what's going on there. Of course, quarterback battle is always a conversation for all of our teams, but update us on Alabama spring football.
Well, of course, they're going to have A-Day today. I'm hoping to go down there with my 6-year-old daughter, and we're looking forward to it. I don't know exactly what we're going to learn. I think this A-Day is going to be more meaningful than some of the past A-Days in recent memory, because you do have a very tough quarterback battle. Look, and it was just the other day that there were a lot of rumors about Alabama reaching back into the transfer portal for somebody like a Tyler Van Dyke. I think that is sort of gone by the wayside, but it was a hot and heavy rumor, and I bet you Nick Saban was unhappy about it for one of two reasons. Either it's true and he wishes that nobody had said anything, but sort of like the Keyshawn Butte thing from last year, where as soon as the rumor gets out, people can try to make it stop or make it not be so, because maybe it was more than a rumor, and maybe Alabama was going to do something with the transfer portal. Maybe they were going to do something with Tyler Van Dyke out of Miami, and now that's been quashed because the rumors got out and Miami was able to counter or whatever. Or it's not true at all, and now you've got 4 quarterbacks on your roster who are probably coming to your office going, "Hey, Coach, what the heck? I mean, don't you believe in us?" And so either way, the news that came out, or the grapevine news, probably wasn't something that made Nick Saban's day. That's just my guess. But this particular A-Day is going to be a lot of fun because there is such a heated quarterback battle. You've got 2 guys that really aren't as dissimilar as everybody believes. I mean, I think that Ty Simpson on the surface versus Jalen Milroe feels like 2 diametrically opposed quarterbacks, and I think both of them are really good athletes. Of course, Milroe is the better athlete. I mean, he's a gazelle, but Ty Simpson's a runner too, and everybody thinks of Ty Simpson as being this fantastic passer. Well, Milroe threw the best pass of spring practice so far. It went viral on a video to Ja'Cory Brooks right over Kool-Aid McKinstry's head. So I think people are going to take way too much out of whatever happens today, and I'm probably one of them, to be true.
Well, Luke, we appreciate it, buddy. Have a good trip over, and I know that you're heading to a soccer match, and I'm sure that you're the coach of the year there. I'm soccer coaching also, buddy. You never know what you get into, do you?
Now, once you have kids, you start doing things that you never thought you'd do, Randy.
Well, y'all have a good trip to Tuscaloosa today, buddy, and have a good day, okay?
All right, guys.
All right, thank you. That's Luke Robinson giving us a little update on Alabama athletics. And if you've got a phone call, we'd love to hear from you. 256-234-6221. Go ahead and take another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
WF Cabinetry in Alex City has immediate openings for first and second shift production roles, in addition to immediate openings for Class A CDL drivers with the ability to be at home weekly. We are ready for you to join our family and grow with us. Prior cabinet experience is always welcome. Second shift offers a flexible 10-hour, 4-day work schedule, giving you a great work-life balance right here at home. WF Cabinetry offers excellent health insurance and 401k benefits, as well as an employee purchase discount with daily production bonus opportunities. You can apply in person at 2212 Airport Boulevard in Alexander City, or call 256-234-7900.
Have you stopped by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store lately? If you haven't, you should. You'll find great pieces for your favorite do-it-yourself project. Lightly used name brand clothing by Free People, North Face, Matilda Jane, Patagonia, and a whole lot more. And while you're there, don't miss the shoes, decorative pieces, classic and new books, and Auburn and Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. So stop and shop at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today for a unique thrift experience that won't break the budget. Lifesavers Mission Thrift, located on East University behind Zaxby's.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All in an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Hey, I'm Jeff Burt, General Manager here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston, where it's Ram Truck Month. Save up to $12,176 off Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn. That's a savings of 20%. Or select 1.9% interest for 72 months and save over $13,500 in interest. So come see us for all these deals and more here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown, 256-234-6221. We got a fisherman out there on the water that we're catching up with right now. He's a sports fanatic as well. But, Brett, we know where your heart is mainly, and it is fishing, isn't it, my friend? Is there anything close to fishing in your life?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's just my hobby and my passion, and you know, I like competition, and, you know, it allows you to continue to compete and do something, you know, similar to golf, you know. And I love to play golf, too, but I had to make a decision. I couldn't do both. There's not enough time. So I chose fishing and grew up fishing. And you know, my son's into it big time. He's fishing a tournament on Pickwick today and tomorrow, a 2-day collegiate regional. It's got 260 boats in it. So, yeah, I mean, it gives you something to do with your kids too, and now my daughter's into it, and so yeah, I love being able to get out here and, you know, fish whenever I can, whenever time allows. And like this morning, man, it's gorgeous out here. You know, not a lot of boats out, and gives you an opportunity to just kind of get away.
That's another spring season here in high school sports that's kind of coming to a culmination, Brett, and you knowing a little bit more about it than the rest of us. Just fill us in on how all things play out and how state champions are crowned when it comes to that.
Yeah, the season is coming to an end. We have one more tournament on our schedule that's coming up Saturday on Lake Martin, our home lake. We're looking forward to it. And then the state championship will be in June on Eufaula, where we're very familiar with, you know, success down there as well. So, yeah, it's you have in the AHSAA BFA side of things, which is the largest high school organization in the state of Alabama, and our very own Josh Williams is the president of the organization now. So
he's pulling double duty. He's obviously the coach of Benjamin Russell, but he is over the entire state of Alabama and does a phenomenal job. And Barry Corbin from Wetumpka has been over it. Barry still helps a lot, and Barry has been the president ever since I've been a part of it. He stepped aside this past year, and Josh took over, and I can't think of anybody better, more passionate, more driven than Josh Williams. We're fortunate to have him at Benjamin Russell, not just as the fishing coach, but a wonderful educator. And but yeah, we're sitting in 5th in the state right now as team points for the high school side, the senior division side, and we're in 1st on the junior division side. And we've won the junior division state championship 2 years in a row, so no pressure, right, this year for us to go back out there and three-peat. But we love to compete. We got some great kids, and it's a great organization to be part of. And I encourage anybody that's coming up through the ranks that would even be thinking about fishing. You don't have to have a boat. You don't have to have somebody that's taking you fishing. They'll find somebody for you to fish with, and somebody to get you out on the water if you're interested.
Brett, let's spin over. You and I broadcasting 2 games last night. Unfortunate for Benjamin Russell, it was losses against Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, a very good baseball team, coming down to the Sportplex yesterday. 2-1 loss in the first game, 9-1 in the second. Just your thoughts overall on the series.
We knew going in that Hillcrest is a tough opponent. We've been to their place. And, we lost the series up there a few years ago. We won the first game. They came back and won the second, and we had to go back and play a third game. And, they were able to knock us out. But, kind of felt good about this one. Coming in, Benjamin Russell had been playing really well. They just swept Pike Road, who was the number 5 team in the state, and beat them pretty handily. And, was really hitting the ball well. And you like the bats to be hot and really peaking this time of year, and it felt like that was the case for Benjamin Russell. And, yesterday was just a good old-fashioned great playoff game. I mean, that was a game that you would expect to see in the 3rd or 4th round. 2 great pitchers on the mound. The Henderson kid for Hillcrest, like you said last night on the broadcast, was a bulldog. He went the distance. Gabe was phenomenal, threw 81 pitches through 6 innings, gave our team a chance. Carter McCoy came in the 7th inning and shut them down to keep it at 2-1. We had our chances, and we were only able to muster up 2 hits against Henderson. He pitched to Jim, and he had good defense behind him, and Gabe the same way. We had several great plays in the field, Carter McCoy being one of them. Made a great diving catch in right field, and had some great play behind the plate with Caden Hyde. He threw 2 guys out on the base pads after pass balls, and so things were it was a back and forth, just a slugfest. And unfortunately, Hillcrest was able to scrap out one run more than we were, so we lost that one 2-1. Then you got to bounce right back and kind of get over that one real quick to get ready to play the next one. And it's backs against the wall mentality, must win situation. And they run another kid out there, that the Latham kid, that was throwing pretty good, but not, nothing that couldn't be hit. And we squared up a bunch of balls early. We definitely out-hit them in that second game. But the crazy thing about baseball is a lot of times you can hit one on the nose and it be right at somebody, and then somebody else can come to the plate and dink one somewhere and get a hit. And every hard-hit ball, it seemed like last night in Game 2, went right to somebody. And, went to the 4th inning with them up 3-1, and then it went to the 5th, and then they blew it open. They got a timely hit with bases loaded that cleared the bases and really ran the score up and put it out of reach for us. But, again, area champs for Benjamin Russell. You definitely hang banners when you can hang banners, and this is another one that will be hung by the Wildcats. Had a tremendous season. Only 2 seniors, and Savon Spradley and Carter McCoy, and 2 great kids, and hate to lose them. And but the future's bright. I mean, most of the guys on the field last night were sophomores and juniors, so that kind of tells you about this team and what this team will return next year.
Quickly moving over to Auburn, Brett, just wanting to get your thoughts real quick on the end of spring practice and how you thought all of that went down, and the current recruiting blitz, not only for Auburn football, but some losses that Auburn basketball has taken on the recruiting front.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with football. I think from a football standpoint, Auburn had a really good spring by all indications with what they had to work with. I thought Hugh Freeze and his staff, we knew they went to work when they got to Auburn, but we didn't really realize how much good they did in a small window of time. And getting those offensive linemen to come in out of the transfer portal may be some of the most important recruits we've had at Auburn in 10 years. Gunnar Britton and Dylan Wade and Avery Jones have solidified a starting role on that offensive line. And then you got a kid in Connor Liu, a freshman that they're really high on, that right now is backing up Avery Jones. I don't think that's going to last very long. I think he'll have a shot to get at one of those guards. But Auburn's looking at Emmanuel Pregnon, who's the number 8 lineman in the portal from Wyoming. He's a big kid, 6'6", 318 pounds. And, a lot of people want him. He's got over 40 offers now, and he's going to have, his selection of where he wants to go. And but a good opportunity there for Auburn to pick up another stellar offensive lineman. And guys, if they do that, I think Hugh Freeze is going to be ecstatic with where he's been able to get to in such a short amount of time and shoring up this offensive line and bringing in some veteran guys. On the flip side, on basketball, Auburn yesterday picked up a kid from UAH, and I thought, that was a big pickup for Auburn from a standpoint of they just lose LeBaron Philon, and that's the way recruiting is. And but the Cheney kid from UAH is a big pickup. Really grew after he graduated from Thompson High School. Was Gulf South Player of the Year this past year. To go along with a kid like you bring in Denver Jones from FIU, Auburn's done some really good work. A lot of times the decommitments garner more attention than the commitments. It's crazy, kind of like the news media. Negative stories seem to get more news than positive. But Bruce Pearl and this staff still doing great work. I mean, that was a huge pickup yesterday. So adding to this roster, and this is going to be a fluid situation. Auburn's not done. Auburn's still in the mix for Flory Badunga in the 24 class, and nobody knows when he's going to commit. And I don't think Auburn's done with LeBaron Philon either. I think the kid's just taking a step back. Wes Flanagan recruited him. He's not there anymore, so I think he and his family just kind of want to evaluate the situation. But I think Auburn's still going to recruit him very heavily, and I wouldn't be shocked if he still ended up at Auburn.
Yeah, great get yesterday, and a lot of ties here locally. Chaney Johnson, who's Regina Stowe's, if many remember around here, was a tremendous high school basketball player at New Site. It's her son, and so I'm proud to see that he's coming back to Auburn. I work with Bo Glenn, and there's a lot of people over in our neck of the woods that are very proud to see him heading back, and he'll put orange and blue on. So it means a little bit more, doesn't it, Brett, when you've got some connections that are excited about it, and glad to see him at our school. Yeah, I mean, and you look at him, and he's embraced this opportunity. He really enjoyed his trip down there, and this is another example. I mean, again, not a cut on UAH, but a kid that maybe didn't garner an offer from an Auburn or Alabama or a bigger school, but goes to UAH and performs well and grows and blossoms into a phenomenal basketball player. And the way of the world, the bigger boys are going to come calling, and he looks at it as a good opportunity for him to advance what he's doing. So he comes and plays for a team that's been a perennial power the last 5 years in the SEC. So who else? Who wouldn't take that opportunity? So, excited to get him and looking forward to seeing who else Bruce Pearl and his staff pick up. Another topic real quick, if you look at it, and I don't know if you guys have talked about it, but, this portal and the NIL has made it really difficult on coaches, and they're going to have to start making some tough decisions. And, Dabo Swinney's in a bad position right now. He's got 88 or 89 guys on scholarship, and the NCAA only allows 85, and he got in this mess because he's got 7 or 8 seniors that are coming back this year, and he came out and said, look,
I never in a million years thought I'd have 7 or 8 of these guys deciding to come back for another year. And now he's got about 3 or 4 scholarships over the limit, and he had given some scholarships to some walk-ons over the last couple of years, and it looks like he may have to go in and pull those scholarships from those guys. So, this thing has ripple effect in just more than one way. Not only are you seeing, people coming out of high school with less opportunities because of the COVID year and the portal and stuff like that. Now, you're having to manage your numbers and you got to do the unthinkable and walk in there and tell a kid, hey, I'm going to have to pull your scholarship because I got too many people on the roster. So this thing's gotten crazy, and, coaches are going to catch flack, but, at the end of the day, they're paid to win games, and they're going to have to do what they feel like is best to win games, but there's going to be some collateral damage along the way.
Definitely is, Brett. And, y'all have a good weekend out there. Catch them. If you need any help, just give me and Scott a call. We'll come out there and show you how to do it. Anytime you're needed, we can do that, buddy. But have a great weekend, okay?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Y'all too.
Thank you. That's Brett Pritchard. Go ahead and take another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. When we come back, we'll have one more segment for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true, and the names have been changed because Brubaker Motors has sold to Sons Automotive. You heard right. Brubaker CDJR is now Sons Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Montgomery. Furthermore, Sons Automotive is a family business with dealerships throughout the Southeast. The name Sons Automotive is synonymous with trust, and they care about the communities they're a part of. They're excited to serve the River region, and in the interest of justice, you will be served a sentence of big savings. Sons CDJR of Montgomery, family owned, family driven.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Have you met your local farmer's insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
The food at Oscar's Cafe makes your mouth water. At Oscar's, enjoy great tasting catfish, or maybe you're just in the mood for one of Oscar's fresh salads. Even kids know the place for a fine meal is Oscar's with a great kids menu. Oscar's also has great tasting burgers full of backyard flavor. So come on out to Oscar's Cafe for great food and homegrown hospitality. We're located on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, just before the Blue Creek Bridge. And remember, it's all fun and games till there's only one cheese ball left.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
OGS Tournaments. Russell Marine and State Farm agent Aaron Warren present Crank for Bank 2023, April 1st through July 4th. Win over $1.5 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 50 tag crappie are waiting on you. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or shores of Lake Martin. Get registered now online at crankforbank.com for only $110 for 13 weeks of fishing. It's Crank for Bank 2023.
Scott caught up with Luke Robinson a little bit earlier, got an update on Alabama spring football, Auburn spring football culminated, and just your thoughts initially after the first few months of Hugh Freeze being on staff and positive feelings on the direction currently of where we're going?
Yeah, when Brett was talking about how much he's gotten done in such a short period of time, it does feel like he's been here for a while, though. I know it's only been 4 or 5 months, but it does seem like he's been here a while. But if you look at the type of recruits that he's brought in, what he's been able to do with the staff, how he's embraced NIL and what that's going to mean for the program moving forward, without an actual game to be played or to look at to review, all the peripheral things he's done makes me feel like Auburn has made the right hire. And he's very similar in the Bruce Pearl regard in terms of I think he understands what this did for his career or what it could do for his career and getting some of that cachet back as a SEC football coach. So all of the peripheral things he's done correctly, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the fall.
Well, and I would say that a positive comment would be that it feels like he's been there longer than he has, because in order to feel like you've been anywhere longer than you have, you've had to have put in a lot of work. And you've had to have had a lot of people talking about you and some actual movement, because when it doesn't feel like you've been somewhere very long, it's because nobody's heard from you and they don't really know what's going on. So I would say that that's a positive thing. We've mentioned Auburn basketball a little bit, so I wanted to hit back over to you on that. A big-time get there yesterday, and I'm proud. Chaney Johnson, who was a Thompson High School player, has really hit a growth spurt there, I think. 6'7", 6'8". He's become one of the players that in the portal that you would like to see end up there, and a great get for Auburn yesterday.
Absolutely, and somebody who, as Brett alluded to, got better and open up some more doors and opportunities for him. But Bruce Pearl continues to do what he does, and he understands the type of players that he's looking for, and I think that he fits the scheme very well.
You know, one thing Auburn's got to do a better job of is defensive rebounding. It was an issue all season this past year. You can point to smaller guard play having some of the issues with that. You can point to Janai having to play a 5 when maybe many expect him to be a 4 if he were to possibly make it to the professional ranks. But you look last year, Auburn was 323 out of 363 NCAA Division I teams when it comes to defensive rebounding. 324. They had 32.4% of the opposition were able to get offensive rebounds on shots. That's a negative number, and not one that I would say has been an issue for a long term for Auburn, because we play hard. And you can see us playing hard out there, but when you're giving up size and you're giving up athleticism, which I think we did a lot last year, then it's going to show up in numbers like this.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't had – this is the first season in a while where we haven't had that true 5, true big guy. I mean, you had Wiley, you had Kessler and Jabari. So, I mean, you look at it, too, how that equated to the amount of points. Auburn, a team that kind of likes to get up and going, but if you're not getting defensive rebounds and you can't get in transition, and that limits some of your opportunities for scoring. So you could see that in the decrease in their points, too. But I think that he fits or helps fill that void coming up this season.
TJ Finley comes out this week, has some, I would call, negative comments towards what Auburn has done since he shows up on campus, as far as going out and getting other quarterbacks to come in and compete with him for the starting job. He took it as a shot that they were needing others and didn't have a lot of confidence in him.
Does he think that the play that he's exhibited, I'll give him the way that he fought in the second half of the Iron Bowl 2 years ago, that's how I choose to remember him, and not all these crappy throws and the 2 for 19s that you had. So, yeah, I'll give you props for that. But if you thought that you were the answer, now he could have been a bridge guy, and he didn't even do that well. So I feel for him because I thought he had some talent, but no, I don't care.
Yeah, it really is kind of a head-scratching deal. You know, I've gotten to the point where I feel like if coaches know what they've got, they don't show their hand and have to go out there and look around. I'm hoping that you're not going to see that during this transfer portal time for Auburn right now, because I've got some confidence in Robbie Ashford. I think he's got the skill set that can be a big-time college football player with the right coaching under Hugh Freeze. But if we're very active out there on the transfer portal front to bring another quarterback in and looking for the best option that we've got, makes me think that there's still a lot of question marks in that room. And Hugh Freeze has made comments around that. So if that's the case, I trust the coach a lot more than I trust me and you. And I hope that we go out there and we get a guy that can piecemeal a positive season together, which will give Coach Freeze enough time to go out there and recruit what I think we'll do. It may not be this year's class, but I think in the next couple of years Auburn will be one of the top 4 or 5 recruiting teams in the SEC, and that'll give you all that you need to compete out there. We're up against the close of the program. I want to thank all of you for tuning in out there this morning. For Scott Hardy, I'm Randy Lee saying thanks for tuning in to the Saturday Sports Countdown.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
So, you finally got the boat, ATV, or side-by-side of your dreams, huh? But make it yours with marine-grade audio that'll provide crisp, high-quality sound that's loud enough to be heard, whether you're cruising on the lake or hitting a mud hole. Come see Steve at the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn, so you'll be ready to crank up the volume. Whoa, but wait, you don't have to pull out of the water and trailer it to Auburn. The Car Stereo Shop can handle all of your work at any one of the Lake Martin marinas.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Continental Roofing is your local roofer. If you think you have roof damage, call Continental Roofing for a free inspection and let us provide all the paperwork necessary to open your insurance claim. We work very well with all insurance companies, but we work for you. Your interests come first. You have assurance that Continental will install a quality roof at a fair price. In the unlikely case that you have a warranty issue, you can have the peace of mind knowing that Continental Roofing is your local roofer.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
So you want to build a home? Build the home you want with America's Home Place. Choose from over 150 floor plans, then personalize. Tile backsplash with granite countertops? Done. A spacious bathroom you've always dreamed of? You got it. Choose every detail, floors, cabinets, even the paint color.
How about electric lime?
Can't decide? Relax. At America's Home Place, we take care of it all. It's your home. Own it. America's Home Place.
Have you met your local farmer's insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best in comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sales. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.